I'm here, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. And I know you have things going on at the facility, but I was going to give you the opportunity to lead the meeting if you like, because
Okay.
I imagine Ina's not going to be able to make this one either, right?
No, she had, I guess, a council meeting or something came up that she had to attend at the same time, so.
Well, council meeting
Yeah.
would be important.
Huh?
A council meeting would be important to attend, so.
Yeah. So let's, I don't know, shall we can't really do anything again, right? Or is this just a regular meeting? Call the meeting to order?
Yeah, let's just call a meeting to order and then we'll do attendance and then just go through,
Okay, and then
everything that we have, any updates and everything.
Randy, you want to do roll call, please? I guess
I
I could
can.
too.
Yep,
Oh,
I can.
okay,
I was
either
trying
one.
to get myself off of mute. So I
Oh,
think
okay.
I'm not, Gidget, are you a member?
Yes, yeah.
I think we put Gidget in a last meeting, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Hello. Yep, we have, I don't know, the checks in the mail. But we're
Okay.
processing the new vendor form, so I'm glad you called me first. I just wanted to make sure that it was indeed okay for me. to put in.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
great.
that's perfectly fine.
Okay, so actually, I think there's only 4 members on right now. Um, 5. So there's myself, Tiffany, Jared, Dr. B, and Gidget. Other than that, we have Jody and Amanda with leading age, and we have Christina and Tom with KAI.
I don't
Okay.
even see Dr. B on here. Is he here?
Yep,
Yeah,
Dr. B is here.
Okay,
I am here. I am here.
So
okay.
And I think we can
Oh,
have
okay.
we can have a meeting like we did with our last, but we can't. We won't have any minutes and we won't be able to do any voting or anything.
and that's fine. I think we got information that it'd just be good to share with just everyone. So that'll be okay.
Okay. Are you
I
gonna
think
do the
we're gonna
treasurer's
run into
report
this.
again, Jared?
I think we're gonna run into this every every December meeting, where everyone's kind of pulled in multiple directions. So
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just jump to the treasurer's report then, right?
okay.
Jared?
Yep, that sounds good. Hopefully everyone got the treasurer's report. And Gidget, hopefully you got the information too. I try to send it to you. We also try to add you to our U.N.I.T.E, kind of like our group email. So you should be getting, our monthly newsletters and treasurer's report minutes and things like that. So if we ever cover anything that it seems like it was supposed to have been sent out, but you didn't get it, just let us know. And we want to make sure that we get, everything corrected so that way you have that information. But if you look at the profit and loss, then for this year to date, we have a profit of $700 or $7,000, $7,000. The month of November, the Laguna Rainbow facility paid their $1,000. And so that's the reason why, if you notice in November, we had $1,000 that was received. And we always have some type of monthly expenses. And I think every once in a while, like you'll notice in September, there was nothing there. And then October, it was increased. Well, there's always some expenses. And maybe Anna in our office that keeps the books, if she doesn't get it added that month, then she, we'll move it over to the next month. So almost typically we'll have some type of monthly expense. Our expenses were a total of $886. And when you take that from our 7,000, well, total expenses was $1,393. And if you take that from our 7,000, gross profit, then you'll have a net profit of 5,607 so far for this month or this year. And when you look at the balance sheet, if we add that to the prior years, we have a total of $21,522.23. So we've got some money, still not, really enough for us to have like a CEO or a paid position, at least full-time. Maybe down the road, we'll want to talk about if we need to, pay someone to do some things. And as we continue our outreach, I think that we might be able to generate some more funds to where we could have money to do that. And we've talked about grants. So there's always things in the workings, but that's where we're at right now. So Tiffany, that's my treasurer's report.
Okay, okay. So after the treasurer report, we will go on to the KAI report.
Folks received the December issue of Collaborating Times in their inboxes Tuesday. Content for the January issue of that newsletter is due Monday the 30th. KAI is closed next week, so you can send me your news, but I will not receive it till the 30th. What else? You should have received your LTSS newsletter this morning. As mentioned, it says stay tuned for the January 22nd LTSS webinar. We're just in the process of getting things together for that one. We canceled the December LTSS webinar because CMS was holding another webinar at the exact same time that we would have had the LTSS one, and it was on home and community-based services. So if you were wondering why there wasn't one, that's what happened. And as mentioned during the previous board meeting, the dates of the two webinars that are reserved for U.N.I.T.E in 2025 are May 28th and July 23rd. So keep those dates in the back of your mind and start thinking about topics. And if folks are interested in presenting, that'd be great. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Christina. Tiffany, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Christina. Leading age report.
Everyone. Just a couple quick things from me, and then I'll throw it over to Jody. Nothing huge going on right now, but I just do want to encourage you all to always take a look at the What's New section on our website. I always recommend that people bookmark that because it's a great place to go when you're looking for kind of what's going on, a good summary of the aging services landscape. Always new articles and opinion pieces being posted almost every day. And so that actually right now has a little bit of information on big issues like the shutdown, what are the contingency plans if negotiations fail. So we're paying really close attention to that. And then of course, I know that a lot of different folks here at Leading Age have our eyes towards what is the new administration going to do and what does that mean for aging services. So folks are busy trying to figure out who they know and what they can find out ahead of the inaugural transition next month. And then another thing to just keep your eye out for, and we'll definitely let you all know when this is finalized, but our policy team that Jody is a part of releases their policy platform every year. So the 2025 policy platform is coming up, and that will give you a good sense of the types of projects and laws and policies, et cetera, that we're working on in 2025 across the continuum of aging services. So that's it for me, and I'll throw it over to Jody.
Oops, sorry about that. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so the policy platform is going through our various committees right now for approval, and I think the last hurdle is the board meeting in January, and then it'll be released after that. But yeah, there's a lot more this year, I think, than I heard the platform is like 70 pages. That's what I heard today. So, and with the new administration coming in, of course, there's been a lot more activity around that. But also wanted to let you guys know about a new feature that we have on our website. It is the Leading Age Report portal, and I'm going to drop it.
Okay. Thanks, Jody.
Sorry.
Um,
I didn't realize I just muted myself when I hit
Oh.
enter. I just dropped it in the chat. But you guys have probably
Okay.
seen this before. Leading Age New York used to do this, and it's now come onto our website. But you can go there to find your quality metrics and benchmarking data, and use that to determine how to like improve your 5-star, things that you might want to address through QAPI, or when you're using for your plans of correction and other data-driven things like your facility assessment. All of that is available to you. It just requires your Leading Age login.
Thank you, Jody. Next is committee updates.
So the website committee, we are holding off meeting until beginning of next year. So we haven't had a meeting since our last board meeting or membership meeting.
And that was my fault. I do have to say, I'm so sorry. I have a sick daughter, and I got to squeeze in a last minute doctor's appointment when we were supposed to meet on Wednesday. So thank you for your patience. And we'll reschedule that for early in January.
Oh, well, and that's no problem, because Amanda, I'm always right there with you, because with 2 toddlers,
Oh.
they can be fine in the morning, and then lunch hits, and then they're not. So it's
Absolutely.
amazing, and I'm thankful that our provider accommodates our needs in getting us in. So
Definitely.
when you
Well,
get that chance, you take it.
thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. The outreach committee, we met, and we really focused on trying to work on our communication with potential tribal members. And we also thought that we might be able to somewhat network with the business vendors committee. And so we drafted 3 letters. Travis was kind of spearheading the drafting of them, and the rest of the committee, we were just in charge of reviewing, which is easier than drafting, like Dr. B has mentioned before. But anyway, we put them forth to, I think everybody here has received those. Gidget, I think you also had a chance to review, and I think it's just a good way to reach out, to follow up, and then to thank or to welcome. And so that's something that we want to kind of get into place. And so that way, like Gidget, I don't think I've mentioned, but Carl T. Curtis is going to be our newest tribal member, and Gidget is the administrator. And it would be nice for us to be able to send you something as in a thank you for joining and stuff like that. So that's kind of where we're working on. So we'll ask that the board approve those letters, and then we'll start to get those out and follow up appropriately. So that's kind of where we are at with those 2 committees, both the business vendors. Yeah, another thing, Ron has kind of worked on the business vendor committee, and he had asked facilities to send like the top 10 vendors that we utilize. And if you have a chance and haven't sent that to either Ron or myself, then if you would do that, and so that way when we're ready, we could send out a communication to some of those vendors and see if they would be interested in partnering with us. And I've got a few on my list that that I'm going to make sure I communicate with. And we've had several reach out to us, and Dr. B, you had mentioned several that have reached out to you to see how they can help unite and how they can be a part of and enjoying in their respect unite. So anyway, that's kind of
Yeah.
a long.
I mean, if we just do our vendor listing and you look at the top 5, you know, you'll come up with those, and it's going to be your Cisco's, your Gordon Foods, you know, that hit that amount, and just ask them. But I even had smaller vendors that say, "Hey, I'll join for your business member list, you know, just to work with you." And you know, I've got a new group. We just put on new security system and cameras in our facility in Nashville, and you know, I spent $80,000 to do that. So they would go, yeah, I will participate, just to kind of share a product, you know, out there. So it's not a hard sell; it's real soft, but it can add up when you get everybody participating.
Yes, that's true. Appreciate that. Tiffany, I think those are the updates for those committees.
All right. I don't know if we have any old business we need to discuss.
Actually, you know, Dr. B helped remind me some old business. We did put in a submittal for presenting at Leading Age National 2025 in Boston. And I haven't heard anything back yet, but I do know that it went in. I even got a thank you reply. May have been automated, maybe not, but still I did get a thank you. So I do know that it was submitted.
It will be a while. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember when. I can find out for you and report out on the next meeting we have when we make the announcements. I know that sometime in the kind of early winter, our education committee will come together to review all of them. So stay tuned.
Thanks,
I
Amanda.
would say we're probably the only American Indian group that's submitted, and it's all on culture change. So they'll probably be excited to get that submission.
Yes, absolutely.
That's, I think, all the old business that I can remember.
Okay. New business?
Yeah, new business last meeting, I was just mentioning that I did talk to Dr. Beverly Cotton, Beverly's IHS director for every the tribes east of the Mississippi River. And so she's actually Mississippi Choctaw Band of Indians, and is a nurse practitioner. She did her residency program at Harry with Nashville General Hospital. So she's a friend of mine, and talked about the we don't really have any facilities identified or working with us on the East Coast, I believe. So that's something that we're going to pitch. And then since that we got listed on for the Nashville area, we actually had a new resident move in. She's Blackfoot. So I was just saying that there's probably some interest on an individual basis. We're not a tribal facility, but I'd like to still get her participating. And then it'll also bring in Kitke Carroll. He's the executive director of the U.S.E.T, which is United South and Eastern Tribes. And so you'll get to see all those. So if you do U.S.E.T, U-S-E-T Inc, I-N-C, .org, you'll actually find that the headquarters is in Nashville, and it pretty much handles from Maine all the way down to Florida, back to Texas, and up to through Michigan. So good tribal area, and I served there with their epidemiology center through Meharry Medical College. So I'll see what I can do to bring those tribes into the U.S.E.T fold. So.
So then our next meeting is March 20th, according to our
You know, there was one new thing too, Brandy, or Tiffany. I have started publishing some of our stories. So we have one that's called Rosie Remembers, and it was from our office manager, and it was just talking about Rosie having dementia, but it was in an animated. So we've got a series of 5 children's books, how long-term care families can share out the story. And so if you want me to share, I can share if that's possible. I don't know if you have to let me share, I think.
That would be nice to share. I don't know who has access, Christine or Tom?
You should be able to share now. Do you see the share
Okay.
button at the bottom of your screen?
Sure. So let me see what I've got to do.
I agree. That would be really nice to see.
Let me see. I don't know if you're seeing my screen now.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's Rosie Remembers. This is not the kind of publications I'm used to, but I've absolutely had a blast. And so the office manager, she was not from our long-term care industry, but she fell in love with the facility and then said, well, I can run an office. So this is about her mother, Rosie. But we did it because we raise animals, plants, and bees. You know, that's where I got my name, Dr. Bee, because of pollinators. And so it was just a play on that. It's just a heartwarming story about memory loss, and it was about her mother. So it's Anne-Marie Deutschman. But we could do this with, I have University Press, so I can help with writing a story. And so this one's just a little bit about her experience. And then, of course, we have a Rise Veteran Foundation. And this is our facility, Kingsland Walk. So, in essence, I can help and we could change up the names of the people and we can put your facilities in there. We did not do this as a marketing piece. Among veterans, Alzheimer's is one of the major issues. About 20% of veterans now have dementia or some form of it. And so we just thought this would be a good thing. It's just we've ended up having book signings. We've had the child care programs come in. And so it just walks through that story, uh, and it talks about her mother and Rosie was born in tough times. She had hard things to go through. Her mother actually was a Holocaust survivor. And so it talks about that imprisonment and her journey, and then about amazing things. And so, but it just is really a cute little story, but it goes through the grandkids' perspective of they didn't understand why she was forgetting their names and forgetting about what was going on, but it brought in the friendships that Rosie ended up having through the facility. And so how there's changes in someone's life. And so this is just was kind of a fun way, and we had a blast. And I mean, we've gone through and sold because we sell these to raise money for the residents' activities, and we've already raised $1,000 at the facility. But it's a cute little component, and it talks about how we had to help other people. And now we've translated this into Mandarin because we at one of our facilities in St. Louis, we have Chinese residents. And as they've gone the dementia, they lose their ability to speak English and they resort back to their native language. And so we've already had it translated into Mandarin. Like I said, this isn't something normally I do because we do more academic literature, but it's really been a lot of fun. And so I just thought it's some new things, and I can share that and help you guys tell the story culturally of things that are important to you and put it into a child care book. And I'm just having fun, quite frankly.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
It is.
And so it's now we've got through our prison ministries, we have what's called PI, which is Prison Industry Enterprises. They're going to produce these books for us. And we'll have about $1.75 a book for that. So it's really very, very reasonable. But it talks about some of the embarrassment, some of the challenges that you have. And then Rosie had to go to a facility and have their family come and visit, and then play how they play card games together, things like that. Just so it kind of takes the scary part away for the kids. We had one grandma, one of the sisters of one of our residents, but she's a grandma. She bought 10 books just for her grandkids for Christmas.
Wow.
And so it kind of, how do you talk about brain health, and how do you get tired, and then it was time for Rosie to go to heaven. And so just kind of talk through very difficult conversations. And so then we had the end. Now we've got a new one that we're doing now, because like I said, I've got 5 of them I'm going to do. And the new one is with our lettuce, and we raise koi fish, so we call it Letty and Koi. And so we're gonna be going through that story and animation. So, but just it's a different way to talk about our industry, but it's more of a friendly way. And I started the first intergenerational childcare program in a retirement campus in 1988. So I just take it for granted. My mother was a nurse in a nursing home, so I always grew up around it, but most people don't. And so I think it's going to be fun, but I'd love to be able to tell stories, and you guys might go off in 10 different directions with things that's, like the TOs have so much around horses and corrals and stuff. And it's like, everybody has some stories. And so how we can bring it in. So just thinking of the cultural differences that we have with our facilities, it might be something fun. And I know you won't see it at other leading age events, but it's something that we can then give back to our community. So just plant the seed. I wanted to share that with you, and I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of the book so you can see that, and we'll get it out.
That's nice, Dr. B. I like it.
It was much easier to write than a textbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
bet.
it was fun because there was no wrong answer. Everybody was having a good time.
That's cool.
Really nice.
And then the most fun was when the child care center wanted to participate, then the staff all dressed up in character. So there was
Neat.
one that dressed like a bee, another one like a butterfly. When the kids came over, they kind of had a little enactment. So I thought, you guys are really having too much fun with this.
Okay, so looks like our next meeting will be March 20th, 2025. If there's not any other new business, then we can adjourn.
Residents of Chisholm Cost time.
Sounds good. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
Yep.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.